Another educational piece for people that are new to this, right? They haven't spoke with a financial firm before, a financial advisor, and they're still trying to figure out how all this stuff works. So one thing I like to talk about and educate people on is how financial practices get paid. So there's two types of firms. There's a fee-based firm and a non-fee-based firm. So the fee-based firm is what it sounds like. It's kind of like a lawyer. You know, you pay the lawyer and then they give you advice, they answer your question. So same thing in a fee-based for a financial firm. You got a question about your finances, what's available to you, and a firm will give you that information for a fee. Now, many years ago, when I first started this, when I first got into the financial planning industry, starting my practice, I had to make a decision which one I was going to be. Did I want to charge people for my time or not? Now, I chose to be a non-fee-based planner, which is the second one, fee-based and non-fee-based. Now, my ideology with being a non-fee-based planner is I'm going to have the opportunity to work with people that are just getting started. I like the idea of having somebody that I can mold and not have too many bad habits. And I decided that if I went fee-based, I could scare those people away. They would run away. They would say, "Oh man, I don't want to pay that fee," and they would go and just wait for an opportunity in the future. Because my mindset is, if you meet with me and you take our advice, you're going to be wealthy someday if you do the right things. You know, it doesn't happen overnight. It's something you got to work on year after year, but that's the end goal, is for you to be wealthy. And I'm not going to get that opportunity to talk to you if I'm fee-based, then I scare you away. So fee-based and non-fee-based. So how do the fee-based firms stay in business? So they represent a lot of companies. All right, both do, fee-based and non-fee-based. And what non-fee-based firms do is they rely on what they're making from the firms that they represent. And that could come in a few different forms. So that's what we do. We represent a lot of companies. That's what my practice does, and my paycheck is paid by the companies we represent. So it doesn't come from doesn't come directly from the client. So now let's go into, how am I paid? What are the areas? So the first one is we work in a broker capacity, and we line people up with the right companies for what they're trying to accomplish. And one company doesn't do everything. We're an independent, so we work with a lot of different companies. So whatever company that we send paper to, or we introduce you to, we're going to be paid kind of like a finder's fee. It's for making the contact between you, the client, and the carrier. So number one is we're paid off commission. Number two is we manage money. You probably heard the abbreviation AUM, assets under management. And that could be a person having like an old 401k or an IRA that they forgot about from 401k from an old job. They know they got to do something with it. So they hire a financial firm to manage it for them. Now, the cost for that is taken right out of the account. So if that 401k did 10% return that year, the financial firm is going to take 1%, and then the client will keep the other 9%. So it's not a bill. You're not swiping your debit card or anything like that. It's just going to come right out of your account. So the third area is, depending on what state that we're talking, estate planning. So estate planning could be writing your will. It could be setting up healthcare proxy, setting up a trust for a grandchild, whatever it is. it involves an attorney, and that part will be transactional based on what you're doing. So that you could potentially swipe a card for, but that's going to be between you and the attorney directly. And then number 4 is really the most important way, and it actually doesn't really have anything to do with money, but it's the best way that we can be compensated. And that would be with referrals, because the way that I've done my business over the years is I service the people that I know. That's where I start. I started in 2019, and I just started calling everybody I know. I'm sure you heard from me, right? I leave messages, I send text messages, Facebook, I call you directly, and that's just me staying front of mind. Now, eventually, that list runs out, and I have to figure out who else to call. And that's where I get with the people that chose to become my client, and I ask them for some help. Be like, hey, I only know so many people, and the way that I stay in business is by meeting people through you. And then the cycle starts over again. I get a fresh list of people I can call, and I call everyone. I offer services. Some say yes, some say no. And then I do it again, and I do it forever. So that's how we do it. So just again, the overview of the video, just how do we get paid? What's the motivation? Because it's good to know when somebody calls me and they're not telling you, being upfront about how they're compensated. Well, I would run for the hills. I think that should be a conversation very early, because that's on people's minds. Is what's driving them? What's the purpose of their call? So, hope it was helpful. Thank you.